Today I will be walking you through a purchase order and an invoice template that were built as dynamic forms in the form engine. Please note that for these two document types, we have pre-built them as the templates you'll see and can give them to you to use if you make a request in the support portal in the form engine. This way you don't have to create the templates from scratch, but I'm going to show you how in the event you want to create templates like these for yourselves in the future. Let's start with creating a purchase order. Here's my model purchase order from Quickbase. It is pretty standard in its elements and layout. I want to recreate this form as a dynamic form in the form engine. And now here's the dynamic form I created in just minutes. As you can see, the forms are nearly identical. Your fields portions here at the top, your line item table, your terms, as well as the signature section here towards the bottom. Using this dynamic form option, you're able to build forms from scratch, copy and paste content from existing forms into the blank canvas, insert tables, paragraphs, images, and other elements as needed to get to the new dynamic form or document that you want. I will now demonstrate how I built the different sections from a blank canvas. The way to create the structure of an HTML document like this is to create the containers for each section. Each section has 1, 2, or 3 columns. Starting at the top with this header section found here, which has 3 columns, the best way to create the 3-column container I need is to use the Insert Table button found in the icon ribbon here. For this example, we only need 1 row and 3 columns. This will give you the exact same structure as the header section found above. If you need to add more space without adding a single paragraph line, all you must do is hold Shift and tap Enter to add more space. Another means of achieving this goal of formatting would be to use the insert block functionality found here in the icon ribbon as well. You'd simply click that button and then click how many containers you would desire for your form. For this instance, we wanted 3. While blocks certainly have their functionality and usages, table functionality is often a cleaner looking and better choice for sections like these. If the blocks resemble a table, it's better to use tables. But if the blocks are more freeform, then you would use the insert blocks functionality instead. I haven't inserted any fields into this template yet, just their labels, so you can see where everything goes. However, here's how you would add active fields into a form like this one when ready. The first step would be to select a new target table. For this case, I'm just going to use invoices, and then simply search for whatever field you desire. For my instance, I will be using city. Find where city is on the form and simply go back to your field here and then click this right arrow here. This automatically brings your field onto the form in an active manner. I'll do one more example with state. As you can see, they're automatically active and added to the form. You can see in the bill to and ship to section, there are 2 columns. In order to create these 2 columns, I similarly structured them based on inserting a table above, doing 1 row and 2 columns to get the required format. The next few rows are just single column content across the width of the page, and you can use simple paragraphs to hold the content in these rows or sections here. Again, if you want more space, all you have to do is click inside the box, hold Shift, and press Enter to add more room. In order to create the upgrade summary portion of the form here, I simply inserted a 7-column table to show you the upgrade summary line item section. But you wouldn't actually use a table here. Rather, you would use a single paragraph with an embedded Quickbase child report. I will be demonstrating this shortly during the invoice template demonstration. In the terms section, it would be very similar to construct as you saw in the payment information section. It is simply a paragraph, but rather than creating separate paragraphs, I simply held Shift and Return together to include it all in one cell. And then at the bottom of the document, you'll see the 2 columns created here. This is exactly the same as how I created the bill to and ship to columns at the top of the demonstration previously discussed. Once you have the container structure you want for the sections of this form, whether you built it or got this template from us as I offered at the beginning of the recording, you can type in the content for your version of the document, or you can copy and paste it from a master document. Copying and pasting can carry across some strange formatting that you will inevitably have to fix in the dynamic builder here, so don't be surprised if you see that with copy and pasted content, you may have to make alterations in the near future. I will now be walking you through a fully functional invoice template with live fields. An invoice document is very similar to the purchase order document. Here's an invoice template that we created, and we can give you a copy of it on request if you want to generate your own invoices in the form engine. A copy for you would be without the embedded fields, of course, due to the fact that the fields are specific to your target table and app. However, I will show you a few examples of how to insert fields. For example, if we're looking for invoice number, we have our target table linked up. All you'd have to do is look for invoice number, simply have it highlighted, click the right arrow, and it's added immediately. Similar to the purchase order number is shown here. It's just that easy. I will just show you the differences here between this and the purchase order. You can first see how I inserted my real embedded fields into it to show you what it looks like. Those real embedded fields are those highlighted in yellow here. You can also see the embedded Quickbase child report that I created simply by clicking on a single paragraph line, going up to the search functionality here to search my report link field created on the Quickbase. In this case, my field is called invoice line items. In order to add the field on the page, you simply click the right arrow here. Upon clicking the right arrow, you will see this screen pop up. This is where you select your report type. In this case, I want tabular, so it looks like a table. And you select any fields you want or desire. Upon selecting your fields, you simply hit done. Once your embedded Quickbase child report has been added to the form, in order to change the heading size as well as the size of your active fields below, I recommend highlighting, going up here to the font to change the font type. You'll see several options, as well as your font size. This will allow you to change them all unanimously so you don't have any delay or any that don't match. In order to change the font size of your active fields, however, I recommend going one at a time so you can ensure that nothing gets messed up and it remains uniform. Once the font size is changed, you're able to drag the grid lines so you can make everything uniform on the page to show up the way you want it. You can see the structure of the document is mostly single-row paragraphs or P containers. The logo is inserted on the top paragraph container, left aligned as an image. If you have a copy of your logo somewhere online, like in your website, it is better practice to link the image and format it here for size than to try to embed the image file into an HTML document itself when you can. Then you have field labels and inserted fields from your parent invoice Quickbase table like company name, invoice number, as well as others. Then, like I showed with the purchase order before, as well as what I just demonstrated here on the invoice template, you'd insert the embedded child table line items report in a single paragraph row under the heading row, like the invoice details heading I have in here. You don't need to add rows or space to hold your embedded line items report, because all the content below the embedded report will expand or contract for the actual number of line items in each invoice you create. The fields and labels in the embedded report and the fields, content, and elements throughout the document are all individually formatable at a higher level than has ever been possible. You can continue to add the containers, content, and fields you want to create the invoice or other dynamic documents you need to finish it. And if, for instance, you needed multiple versions of your invoice, purchase order, or other dynamic forms, you don't have to build the other versions from scratch. You can build the master or first one and save it, and then make a change to it, rename it, and save as to have a second version that you can edit as you need. For instance, if I wanted to change this to invoice form 2, I'd simply go up to the right corner of the screen, go to save as, and it will now copy the template to have a second working version of the form. Once you have a template built, you shouldn't need to build other templates like it from scratch ever again. I hope this gets you what you need to start building the dynamic forms and documents your business needs. There are more videos in the support portal in the form engine and topical content that can help with functionality in other areas as well. Or you can submit a support case if there is content that you don't find in the support portal.